Okay, welcome back, geographers. Today we are going to talk about hydrothermal features and look at some of Earth's most spectacular geological phenomenons. So, okay. So what is hydrothermal activity? Hydrothermal activity refers to the outpouring or ejection of hot water, often accompanied by steam. This activity typically manifests as either hot springs or geysers. Hydrothermal features form when groundwater seeps into the Earth's crust, where it is heated by nearby magma or hot rocks. As this water heats, it becomes less dense and rises back to the surface through fractures and fissures in the rock, creating the spectacular features we will discuss today. So, hot springs, what are hot springs? So, hot springs are the most common thermal features that we see. They occur when heated groundwater rises to the surface through these cracks and fissures in Earth's crust. The water in hot springs can reach a remarkable temperatures. At the boiling springs in Idaho, water emerges to just below the boiling point. While Japan has some hot springs, water emerges at a scalding 199 degrees Fahrenheit. That's extremely hot. And it has to be cooled before anyone can bathe in these hot springs. So the mineral composition of hot springs varies widely, leading to different colored waters and deposit formations. In New Zealand, pictured on the below picture here, the Inferno crater lake, it shifts from a clear blue to a milky gray during its 38-day cycle due to the changing mineral concentrations. The deposits around hot springs can form striking landscapes, like the Prism Hot Springs pictured above in Yellowstone National Park, Wyoming. Okay, but also on sloping land, terraces typically form, like with the white travertine terraces in Mammoth Hot Springs and Yellowstone National Park. So in the Mammoth Hot Springs, here we have calcium carbonate deposits that have created a series of stepped pools flowing down the hillside. On flat land, these deposits can form cones or domes of irregular shapes or concentric patterns. So let's talk about geysers like Yellowstone, Yellowstone's Old Faithful. So geysers are specialized intermittent hot springs where water and steam erupts periodically rather than flowing continuously. For a geyser to form, there must be three elements. Excuse me. The first element needed is a tremendous supply of heat. Usually, this heat is from nearby magma. And as I've discussed before, Yellowstone, for example, is a hot spot on our Earth's surface. So that is where the heat is coming from. The second essential is a plentiful supply of water. Okay. So, in continuing with our Yellowstone example, it is in a northern region. And so we have a lot of snow melt and plentiful water here. Okay. The third essential is a plumbing system of narrow channels that build pressure. And this is what we have as well in Yellowstone. So let's examine how this works, again, using Yellowstone's Old Faithful as an example. So beneath this famous geyser lies a network of narrow conduits or channels, kind of like the plumbing underneath our cities. So as water from above ground seeps into the ground, into these passages, it becomes superheated due to this hot spot being relatively close to the hot spot. So this water becomes superheated, reaching temperatures well above 100 degrees Celsius. But not boiling due to the pressure from the water column above it. Eventually, as water continues to heat, steam bubbles form. These bubbles rise and expand, pushing some of the water out of the geyser's vent. And this reduces the pressure on the water below, causing it to flash steam and trigger the characteristic eruption that we see at the surface. Now, geysers are extremely rare worldwide. Over half of Earth's geysers are found in Yellowstone National Park, with others scattered around Iceland, New Zealand, Chile, and Russia. Iceland has a geyser that is even more regular than Old Faithful. Iceland's geyser erupts, one of them erupts reliably every 6 to 10 minutes, shooting water up 20 meters high, making it a very dependable tourist destination. We also have what are called fumaroles. Now, this is going to be our final hydrothermal feature, and essentially a fumarole is a steam vent. Fumaroles form when there is minimal groundwater, but direct connection to a heat source, okay? So we don't have as much groundwater as we do in places like Iceland and Yellowstone, although we do see fumaroles in these locations, okay? So when we have minimal groundwater, what little water does enter the fumarole's conduit instantly flashes into steam, creating the characteristic vapor plumes. So unlike a hot springs and a geyser, fumaroles emit primarily steam rather than liquid water. Now, often due to the minerals within the geology, fumaroles emit the sulfurous gas that creates an otherworldly landscape and that distinctive rotten egg smell from the hydrogen sulfide. At Hawaii's Volcanoes National Park, visitors can observe sulfur banks, which are fumaroles. And this is where volcanic gases have altered the surrounding rocks to a bright yellow and white minerals through the process of sulfitaric acceleration and the alteration of it. Okay, so to conclude this section, hydrothermal features represent the dynamic interaction between Earth's groundwater systems and its internal heat. From the reliable eruptions of geysers to the constant flow of hot springs and the emissions of fumaroles, these features provide scientists with valuable information about what's happening beneath the surface. They also serve as important reminders of Earth's active nature and the powerful forces at work below our feet. So next time you see an image or get to visit one of these features, remember that you're witnessing a direct connection to Earth's fiery interior. So this concludes our lecture on chapter 17. I will see you in the next chapter.